to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another presentation of the National Sim Racing League Association, presented by Diesel Laptops. This time, we're in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Welcome in, everyone. Morgan Cook here with Daniel Cunningham. You are watching VSPEED. Check us out at vspeedsim.com/shop for all your merchandise needs, as well as at VSpeedSim on X. And of course, cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Excellent camera work here this evening. Well, Daniel, this 2-mile behemoth here in Michigan. You want to tell us a little bit about how to get around this place?
Yeah, as you can see on the screen there, Morgan, Brooklyn, Michigan, the location for this race tonight, Michigan International Speedway. 2 miles in length, 18 degrees of banking in the turns, 10 on the front straightaway. 4-corner tri-oval track, similar to what they used to have out at Auto Club, another 2-mile track. But these ARCA cars are going to put on a really good show tonight. Should be a lot of close racing. The draft is going to come into play. Cars have a lot of grip around here, and especially with the track conditions that we'll have this evening, going to put a lot into these drivers' hands to try to make their way up to the front.
Absolutely right about that. I'm very curious to see how this wide racetrack is used. There's about 4 grooves here. You can run anywhere you want around this racetrack. Look at the schedule. Michigan, Lucas Oil Raceway, and Las Vegas are all that remains between these drivers and the end of the season. And a quick look at those points. Will Zechariah Cartledge be able to hold off SB Montgomery, Lewis, and Ritters for the championship? That's what we're all watching here tonight. A lot of drivers fighting to get more wins, and a lot of drivers fighting to break into the top 20 in points here at Michigan. We are seconds away from taking the grid to find out where your favorite driver is going to start this evening. Let's get to it. Starting on the pole this evening, Christopher Hodges in the 81 with the fast lap, a 38.23. Sean Warrope going to be second to start this one. Third tonight, Dustin Lewis in the 33. Zechariah Cartledge will start in fourth. Fifth will be Brandon Vies in the 65. Great qualifying effort for him. Enoch Hancock will start in sixth. 7th, we have Michael Cole in the 43. Matthew Montgomery rolls off in 8th. And your top 10 belongs to Christian Key and Caleb Jones.
Starting just outside the top 10, a pair of teammates, Jeremiah Holt and Mark Cofield, holding down 11th and 12th. Starting in 13th, David Moyer with Gino Volanti in 14th. In 15th, one of those 5 championship drivers that we were talking about, Toby Ritters, starting 15th. Stephen Gill rolling off in 16th. 17th, Brandon Wallace in the 90 car with Sam Bridges to his outside at 18th. Rounding out the top 20, going to be Justin Schaub in the 07 and Jordan Bridges in the 45.
Starting 21st, Kevin Satori in the 49. Jameel Gills will start 22nd. 23rd, Jared Green. 24th, MJ Palmer. Aaron Espy, 25th here this evening. And that is your grid for tonight. Now high above this racetrack in Brooklyn, Michigan, drivers just now rolling onto the racetrack. There they are. Let's have a look at your race analysis. 75 laps will make up the scheduled distance here tonight, 150 miles. Pit road speed is 55 miles an hour. It's easy to speed here, but it is not a difficult pit road to get onto. Just hard to keep that speed as it is such a long straightaway. 5 sets of tires available. I doubt we're going to use all of them, but with only 16 to 20 laps of fuel, it is certainly possible we pit many, many times here tonight. 2 green-white checkers, should we require those at the end of this race. I'm excited, Daniel. How about you?
I am excited, and a little bit of a wrinkle to our championship battle here. Zechariah Cartledge, I didn't quite hear what happened, but I heard him say that there was an issue with him being able to take the grid. As you can see, the 61 on pit road. So early issue here for the championship leader as we get ready to go green.
That's going to make last week's sting even a little bit more. Had a good run, but things went sideways at the end. But we're going to fire him up, and we're going to go green here in Michigan.
See the field pretty well side by side as they head through turns 1 and 2. Dustin Lewis, Christopher Hodges still holding down those first 2 positions as they head down the back straightaway. Outside line wasn't quite formed up the way that inside lane was. Zechariah Cartledge there in the background, blending out as well, coming off of pit road.
Yeah, he's not going to lose a ton of time here, unfortunately, though. Not going to be able to retain 4th place where he qualified as we finish lap number 1. Looks like it's going to get led by pole sitter Christopher Hodges.
And Christopher Hodges beats him back to the line by just a fender there. Gets the bonus point for leading that lap over the 33 of Lewis. And you can see just with how wide this racetrack is, offers a lot of different lanes for these drivers. A lot of 2 wide, a little bit of 3 wide as well. These guys probably going to stay packed up like this for the majority of the race, I would expect.
You should be able to run this racetrack wide open, at least for a while here on this run, if not for the entire run like you can in the truck. I'm curious to see if guys start lifting. Maybe we'll do a little onboard here. Let's start with Dustin Lewis. Trying to lead that inside lane here. Might get a bit of help from Brandon V's. Let's ride on board with him here. Watching the RPMs, they continue to climb. We'll see if he lifts out of the throttle into the corner or not. He does a little bit, a little tight on entry. Gino Volanti right in front of him. Good job wrapping the center there.
Yeah, the tight in the center seems to be a common theme with these ARCA cars. You get into that little bit of turbulent air. These cars punch a pretty massive hole in the air. So it's easy to do. You got to get a little bit of rotation in the center of the turn. But we've got a new leader here up at the front. That is Matthew Montgomery in the 9, has made his way to the point. See the 20 car there, Sean Worm starting to fall back just a little bit. They're 3 wide for position behind that. You can see Mark Cofield up on the top of that 3 wide. and they are using every bit of this racetrack available, even down to the grass on the apron as they come down the front straightaway.
It's going to be 4 wide here in a minute. Michael Cole's thinking really hard about it. Instead, it's going to be Dustin Lewis. Sorry, that's the 16. Up the racetrack, contact. Still 4 wide. Everyone able
wide
to
again.
get through it, but that just about was caution number 1.
Yeah, really nice job by all these drivers of getting through that. And even with this track being as wide as it is, that's really the dangerous part of driving here, is you get those massive runs with just how much the draft comes into play. As you can see right there, the 0-2 of Caleb Jones gets a run, side drafts Matthew Montgomery. Going to try to get himself the lead here. Believe he did lead that lap, and also put Enoch Hancock up to second now. You can generate such a massive run in these cars. You got to go somewhere with it. You can't just lift or you're going to get bypassed by a bunch of folks yourself.
But a lot of grip in these cars as well, which makes them so drafty. They have a lot of drag, so it sticks them to the racetrack, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to drive away from your competitors, like I'm sure Jones and Hancock want to do, as they are currently leading the race, of course. Yeah, excellent battle. Still 3 wide, further back in the field. These guys, and they're dooring each other, cannot get away from each other.
It is so hard to break away with that draft. 3 by 3, 2 rows deep there, as you can see. Starting to get it sorted out just a little bit. Of course, as I say that, they're starting to look 3 wide again. Just that top groove able to carry a lot of momentum on corner exit, and you can really make that time back up as you get down the straightaway.
I think really the key to this race on the restarts is going to be run the high side the best you can. Because right there, you see the 16's able to get to the quarter of the 97, but he can't do anything off the corner besides drag them both backwards. You lose to everyone else around you. So I think you just really have to be able to run the high side here and find a lane up top. You see the 45's trying it right now. This is on board with Jared Green from the roof.
Jared Green doing a really nice job wrapping the bottom there, but as we were talking about, you can see that little gaggle of cars there in front of him just pulling away ever so slightly down the straightaway. Makes up a ton of ground on the entry to the turn, actually closes right back in on the back of them. They're thinking about 3 wide again. Looked like they were thinking about 4 wide there for just a moment, but yeah, you can just really see how much momentum you can carry. It's back up to the front. We've got Hodges back into the lead for the second time this evening.
And it could have been that he fell back intentionally to see what it's like to work back through the field here. Oh, someone's off the racetrack. I think that was Toby Ritters. Oh, big crash. The two's in it.
Massive contact involved there. That was a lot. Yeah, Toby Ritters, as you mentioned, was indeed involved in that.
Warob as well got a part of it.
Yeah, it looked like Warob got the worst of it there, along with the 2 car of MJ Palmer. Palmer actually showing a meatball right now as we take a look at that VSPEED instant replay. Just a little bit of a door bang there between the 20 and the 88. Really nice job by Ritters to actually hang on to that.
Yeah, great job.
And the 2 car there of Palmer just piles in to Sean Warob. Take another look at that on board as we ride along here. The turn, you could see the 88 down to the bottom there, and from where Palmer was sitting,
yeah, he expected Warob to come back across the racetrack, and then when that car turned back to the left, obviously he was caught holding the bag, so to speak, and right to the back of the 20. Let's have a look at the 20 again, just see kind of what caused them to get loose in the first place. So just a case of, I think the 20 coming down the racetrack knows the 32 is going to hit the wall. Ritters didn't quite expect to be 3 wide. Again, great job saving that car by the 20. And just MJ didn't quite know where Warob was going to end up. Unfortunately, guessed wrong. And it's big damage for the 2 and the 20 for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And in MJ Palmer's defense on that one, even we saw it there from the onboard. it just, you couldn't really tell where the 20 was going to spin to. It looked like, Ward was going to keep it down on the bottom. And it looked like maybe he was going to shoot back up to the top. So really hard to anticipate that sometimes. But that's going to open the door for our first round of pit stops here, Morgan.
Absolutely. We'll see who's able to get on and off pit road well. I see the 16's already out of the box. Here comes the 15. I think guys not taking tires here could be a move. Remember, we might not have, we probably have enough sets, but it could be interesting. Might want to save those for later in the race. So we see the race off pit road. Already 11 laps in the books here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of strategy play in order here, whether you want to burn that set early or whether you want to hang on to a set, as you had mentioned. So see how this plays out for them as they move through the rest of the race. I'd have to think that the tires may be worth just a little bit here, just based off of the handling that we were seeing.
Absolutely. So a quick look at the running board as far as who's taken 2, who's taken 4, or it could be 2, could be no, it could be fuel only. Looks like it's fuel only for Hancock, Jones, Green, Lewis, Cofield, and Wallace. 7th place, Matthew Montgomery, first one to take tires. So we'll see if Montgomery and Hodges can drive through the field, or if the old tires are enough to hang on to for your top 6.
Yeah, definitely going to be worth following, as I believe we should get the 1 to green here this time by. But yeah, I'm with you. I kind of like having the fresher tires on. I think that that's going to end up being, I think it's going to end up being beneficial just from the handling aspect. But see if those guys up front are able to hang on here.
Especially if we go green, there's no stages here. So having those fresher tires is going to benefit you for the next, if we go green, 20 laps, 18 laps, whatever that fuel run actually ends up being. So if it turns out to be a big positive, you're going to have that positive for the entire length of the run. So I like it in this situation. Though on the flip side, later, should they run out of tires, having an extra set right now would definitely be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a matter of when do you think the cautions are going to fall? A lot of really good green flag racing there, that first 10 lap stint that we had.
That's
so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this race have a bit of a green flag trend here, just based off of what we saw. Drivers racing hard, but showing each other respect and giving a lot of room as well.
Absolutely. And wasn't it Larry Mack who said, you tell me when the cautions come in, I'll tell you when to pit, something like that? So maybe it was Steve Letarte. One of those, I think it was Steve Letarte actually said that. One of those two great color analysts, great technical analysts on those NASCAR broadcasts. So I agree. You tell me when the caution comes out, I'll sure tell you when to make it to pit road. Anyway, field back in the hands of Enoch Hancock and Caleb Jones into the restart zone, and we are back racing here in Michigan.
Indeed, we are green flag in the air. Enoch Hancock with a nice jump on that initial start. He is going to be clear for the lead. A lot of momentum there up on that top groove as well. But as I say that, the fight is back on. The 0-2 of Jones on the inside there. Looked like he may be pushed up just a little bit, but able to actually clear Hancock. Going to go ahead and put the 0-2 to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, put that driver to the top of the sheet for the first time today. Look at the 3 wide behind him, the 16 of Green. Great run through the center of the corner. We saw it earlier in the race. He was able to really make speed down there. This is where he loses it, is on the straightaway, is on the top side. Hodges is pushing the heck out of the 33. They're all going to bottle up into the corner here. Montgomery on the new tires, not able to make it stick. He's going to lose a little bit of ground here.
Oh, and there was a big contact with the wall in the back of the pack. I believe that was Jordan Bridges. No caution on the speedway as of yet, as he does keep it rolling, but big damage there to the 45. Let's take a look on the VSPEED instant replay. Look at that Zechariah cartilage there directly behind. Actually blinks out for just a moment behind the 45.
Oh, he got some help for sure, and then he tried to save it and up into the fence.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if maybe there might have been a little bit of net code there, especially with that
to drive
blink
it
that the 61 had. And Yeah, credit to Bridges for trying to get it back to pit road, but that car is definitely seen better days, showing a meatball flag right now.
Yeah, toast, I think, is the word you're looking for. When both front tires are off of it, usually that's not the way. Usually. Anyway.
Yeah, usually less than ideal if your car is looking like a modified out there with these ARCA cars.
Suboptimal. We're going to do a quick onboard here with Brandon V's.
Brandon V's running just inside the top 10 here. Has his driver cam on this evening so we can see what he's doing as he goes around the racetrack here. And down on that bottom groove right now, he is, when I say bottom groove, he is all the way down on the bottom trying to make some passes here. Like the 81 directly in front of him, trying to get around that driver. But yeah, that's Hodges there directly in front of him. Doing a nice job here as we stand running in 7th place.
Yeah, having a great showing. Started up in 5th, has continued to run up in that top 5, top 10 for most of the race here to this point. Solid run for the 65.
See a little bit of 3 wide action here as well. Matthew Montgomery now up into that 2nd position, putting Mark Cofield up in 3rd. First time we've seen him in the podium here this evening. Down on the bottom, Enoch Hancock still doing a really nice job.
Door contact for the lead.
Yeah, that was indeed some contact for that number 1 spot. They're still making contact down the front straightaway. Thought we might see it a 3rd time there, but that's also going to allow Cofield and Hodges to close in on the back of this battle.
I thought Hodges was gonna sail it off into the corner. Thought better of it. 81 definitely had the chance to make that happen, but they're still side by side here. That's what we love about Michigan. Oh, into the wall goes the 81.
And that was pretty heavy contact into the wall for Hodges. Don't know if maybe he got a little bit of help down the straightaway. That's kind of an odd spot.
4 wide for the lead. They're wrecking for the lead.
Still making contact.
Oh my goodness. Around. Montgomery's around. Caution is out. Oh no.
I don't think Matthew Montgomery hit anything with that, just a spin through the grass.
Let's go back one more time here. So you're going to see the contact with the 81 came from Cofield. Just mistimed the move, trying to pull out a line. We're going to watch this whole thing for that entire lap. There's the 81 to the bottom of the racetrack, able to get the spot from Cofield. Cofield had to lift for a moment. So we're going to see the 97 try and make an aggressive left-hand turn here on the 81 right there. Put him in the fence. Not intentional. But gets a terrific run through the corner and is 3 wide. Montgomery fades up the racetrack. They all have to lift. Here comes the 73. They don't realize they're 4 wide. 02 comes down, gets all 3 of them. And around goes Montgomery. Yeah, minimal contact, I would say, out of that one.
Yeah, and that was Jeremiah Holt in the 73 there on the bottom as well with that 4 wide. So a little bit harder car-to-car contact than what I had initially thought. But, yeah, I mean, for what could have happened with that literally right there at the front of the field, that could have been a lot bigger than it ultimately was.
Absolutely. That could have been a multi-car accident instead of just having 3. We very well could have had a dozen cars involved in that accident. Split decision here on the pit lane. Top 7 stay out. 8th on back. Decide to bring it down to the pit lane. Of course, drivers like Christopher Hodges, who got caught up in that accident, up into the outside wall. He will pit for damage repairs. Everyone else getting those tires. Bolt them on.
And it looks like we did have a few drivers that stayed out, showing Mark Cofield in the lead right now. Christian Key, Dustin Lewis, Toby Ritters, and David Moyer currently your top 5. So a little bit, again, of a mixed bag here. Also, Justin Schaub, Kevin Satori staying out here as well. So your top 7 electing not to pit on this caution.
Absolutely, and that's definitely going to shake things up here the rest of the way. Like I said, on the last caution, the tires aren't really mattering a lot, but you are going to have that extra fuel now. So it's curious to see which strategy is going to work. Is it going to be the ones who pit 9 laps ago or the ones who pit just now? Which one has the right strategy? Because there can only be one right strategy to win the race. That's the beauty of it. Curious to see which one it is. Is it the one 9 laps ago or the one right now?
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised they didn't at least come down and take fuel in that situation based off of the numbers that we were seeing pre-race with our race analysis. We're showing about 16 to 20 laps on a tank of fuel. Of course, cautions will help extend that just a little bit. But based off of that, these guys that stayed out are going to have to hope for a pretty quick caution here. Otherwise, they're going to have to risk pitting under green.
Absolutely. They've only got about 8 more laps, 8 to 10 more laps to go here. Then you got to pit another time. Maybe they're not banking. Yeah, maybe they're not banking that we make it to that 8 to 10 laps. Maybe they're banking that even if it goes that way, they're on the right side of the fuel number. It's hard to say, and I'm very intrigued to find out, you know, which one has the right call here.
Yeah, definitely some more intrigue as we saw the split strategies on the first caution, split strategies here on the second caution as well, as we are just under a third of the way through this race. And you know, the lighter fuel load that we're running definitely helping to throw these drivers an extra curveball here on what they want to do. And you know, wasn't that long ago we were talking about Toby Ritters with that nice save that he made, and he's back up there in 4th with that strategy call.
Yeah, trying to make the most of a bad day for Zechariah Cartledge. At least it has been to this point, with not being able to get on to the grid here. The field is in the hands of Mark Cofield and Christian Key into the restart zone. Big jump for the 97. He's going to get away clean.
Mark Cofield with a really nice jump there, a little bit further back. Field wasn't quite tightened up the way that we normally see on some of these restarts. Some pretty big gaps there between some drivers. Mark Cofield clear by almost 0.3 of a second, but as they get these cars wound up, that draft comes into play. A feeling they're going to start reeling them back in here, as you can already see that gap coming down.
And here comes last week's winner, Toby Ritters. They get right to the back bumper. Let's a little bit early there, did not quite make that happen. Here comes Lewis and Caleb Jones. Gonna be 3 wide for second if they're not careful. Looks like it will be off of turn 4.
As you said, 3 wide for second place, and that is gonna put Jones now up into that number 2 position. Dustin Lewis trying to follow through as well here. Caleb Jones, the first one of those that did pit on that last caution. So able to make some pretty good ground
big
here.
Contact back there.
Contact in the back.
Stephen Gill.
That was, yeah, the 5 of Stephen Gill. I think
save.
he was able to keep it off the wall. These drivers just making some absolutely insane saves here this evening. Take another look at that one.
Yeah, great job not hitting anything here. Again, Zechariah Cartledge in the frame. Not saying it's his fault by any stretch, just curious that he's in the frame for 2 of these incidents.
Oh yeah, and it looked like the 90 of Brandon Wallace got into the wall a little bit ahead of him, and Stephen Gill just tried to stay off of him, able to do so. And you know, Morgan, I had to laugh just a little bit there. I heard him key up on race comms after he said that and said, and I quote, "Shake and bake, baby." So,
incredible.
That is a very fitting response for that moment.
Incredible. I mean, anytime you're able to save a car like that, it makes you feel good inside, even though you lost all your track position. But hey, you still have a race car to work with.
Still have something to work with here. Better than having to come down and get a bunch of damage fixed. But you know, you had mentioned right as we were getting ready to go back green, Zechariah Cartledge, not the night he had been hoping for so far.
Huge contact.
And broadcaster curse strikes right there for Cartledge. I was just getting ready to say he had worked his way up into the top 10, and I couldn't tell who that was.
That was the 82 of Christian Key.
Yeah, the 82 of Key got into the wall a little bit there in front of Cartledge, and that was a pretty significant hit to the back bumper of Key.
Looks like no damage on the 61, which is great news for him. But that was a massive piece of contact with the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, it really was. And nothing that Cartledge could really do there, just happened right in front of him. No place for him to go. Not the evening that he's hoped for from the beginning, and just another setback here for him in his quest for a championship.
Absolutely. This is when those champions are tested. There's always one or two races throughout the season that make you really have to focus and just get all the points that you can. And this is the one for him. Obviously, not a great week last week at Bristol, but we're getting down to clutch time to see if the 61 is able to do what he has to do to get the points he needs. It's him versus Espy's not in this race, so that's going to help. But Ritter's having a great day. And the 9 as well in the race, been up at the front, led some laps. He's currently back in 22nd at the moment. But going to have to really find some speed here, dig deep for the 61.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremiah Holt back up there near the top 5 as well after that incident that
How about
brought out
Brandon
the last
V's?
caution. Brandon V's now, as you were saying that, he is trying to make a move, almost contact, maybe just a little bit of contact there with the 16 of Jared Green. Everybody gets through, though, and they are 3 wide going for the lead through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Green put him in a bad spot into the corner. But off the corner, it's all going to work out. V's going to fall back into the 3rd position on that high line. Jones leads, Lewis in 2nd. What a great race so far.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a lot of great side-by-side, a lot of people moving up through the field. And at the risk of putting another broadcaster curse on him, that was Zechariah Cartledge there, back up in the top 10 again. Now in 8th place, just ahead of Mark Cofield. And just never quit. That's really the story of the night so far for him. And yeah, you mentioned it. There are definitely races where champions get tested, where you just got to grind and keep going. This is one of those nights for the 61.
Definitely right about that. Having a look at David Moyer here, who has been struggling as of late. Remember, he did not pit under the last caution. He's got to be almost out of fuel. Curious when the 47, along with his other drivers on that strategy, Dustin Lewis and Toby Ritters, among others, hit the pit lane, because it can't be many more laps from now.
Yeah, those that did not pit on that last caution currently showing 19 laps on this run. 20 was really the max of what we said. Going to be extended a little bit by those cautions, but these drivers have got to be within a couple of laps of having to hit pit road under green.
Definitely right, but this battle for the lead is just too good to pass up. I'm curious to see when Dustin Lewis hits the pit lane. He's trapped on the top side. See him right there, that white and blue car with the red numbers, the 33 machine, 3rd on the high lane. He's the worst on fuel right now, and he's in the worst position to pit right now. 3 wide on the top. What does he do? Where's he going to go?
Yeah, both he and Mark Cofield there, just a couple positions behind. Cofield, though, down on the bottom, that if he does need to hit the pit lane, he's in the position to do so. But as you mentioned, though, Lewis trapped up there on that high lane, just nowhere for him to go.
There goes Cofield.
And as we talk about it, here comes Cofield hitting pit road. I don't know if he got that car slowed down. That looked like a coming in hot entry.
He
there.
sped. That's a black flag for Mark Cofield in the 97. Pushed a little too hard.
Yeah, it definitely looked fast when he pulled down off the track. See if Dustin Lewis is able to work his way to the bottom here and hit the pit lane. Got to be running on fumes at this point, and I think that's going to open the floodgates for these drivers that did not pit on that caution. You can see Lewis down on the apron, slowing down. He is going to hit pit lane, going to have a couple others here following him as well.
Yeah, the rest of the drivers on this strategy all making their way down the pit road right now. Just shy of halfway in the race. In the first real shakeup, of course, the strategy, but we went all the way green on this run. So when do these drivers hit the pit lane? They're only about 5 laps away from hitting the pit road. So that is also going to shake things up. You got to be efficient getting on and off pit road here. The draft meaning so much means you can't lose the draft. It'll absolutely hurt you in the long run. And we are single filed trying to be efficient.
And we actually saw that at the beginning of the race with Zechariah Cartledge having to start from the pit lane. just, you know, he didn't lose a lap or anything, but just not able to keep up without that help of the draft. But up here at the front, Brandon V's, he's not done yet. He's trying to make a move down to the inside, just doesn't have any help to go along with him. Of course, right as soon as I say that, somebody's going to jump down in line and go with him, try to get a little 2x2 lane roll in here. But the numbers definitely with that top group for right now.
And if we stay green, very interesting. Toby Ritters, right in front of the pack. He did not take tires. Dustin Lewis, who was behind the pack, did take tires. Those are the top two after that cycle, or at least for their strategy. Man, this race is on its ear right now from strategy perspective, as we're still 3 wide up here in the top 5.
Yeah, it really is. And with Ritters not taking tires, he was able to stay on the lead lap. The only one of those that have pitted under green that has been able to do so. So if a caution comes out, going to help him out where he doesn't have to take a wave around or a free pass. I like the strategy play. You're kind of in the position that you're in. Really smart move there to be able to stay on the lead lap. But that's also, as we look at this battle for the lead.
Wow. How did they save that? V's got hooked by the 73. They all went for a ride. Somehow they stay green, and they stay pointed in the right direction. Jared Green has taken the lead here. Oh my goodness, that was almost another massive accident.
Yeah, Jared Green up there in the first position had all of that in his rear view mirror. And just another example, we have seen it multiple times here this evening, of drivers just making absolutely phenomenal saves, as it looks like we're going to have the first of this second strategy.
Black flag
group, rather.
For the 73.
Oh, yeah, you are right. I thought that was a green flag pit stop, but that is actually a black flag.
Would might end up being
that is for incident points.
It might end up being the right call to pit here for fuel anyway, considering we're right on the edge. We're probably 2 laps short of when he would have pit anyway. Not the worst timing for it. Of course, there is still a penalty attached to it, so that's the unfortunate part. We'll see what it's like in the pit stall. I think he's actually just drove straight through, did not stop for the 73. Yeah, back on the racetrack.
I could be mistaken, Morgan, but I believe that they can't pit while serving that penalty. I believe. I think that if you come down and pit, it actually won't clear the penalty. So
interesting.
It was going to result in 2 trips down pit road, regardless whether the first one was to pit and the second one was to serve the pass through,
gotcha,
or vice versa.
I wasn't sure if that penalty by pitting just turned into a hold for 40-second penalty, or if it ended up being another drive-through. So that's interesting. I haven't had one of those penalties before to serve only the hold penalties that iRacing gives out for, you know, passing under yellow or whatever have you, should you be in an official session. So always learning stuff here on VSPEED, and learning this track obviously is Jared Green. Started in 23rd position and has already led 4 laps in that 16.
Yeah, as he paces the field here, definitely closing in on those green flag pit stops.
Warrobe's in. So is Matthew Montgomery.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit more than closing in. We have some takers on pit road there, as you mentioned, Morgan. So would have to think that our leaders are probably going to be coming down this time by. As you can already see, that's the 0-2 of Caleb Jones down on the apron, trying to get slowed down for pit road. And Jared Green with a really, I mean, he gained a lot of time there on a really efficient pit entry compared to some of the others behind him.
Yeah, some drivers being very conservative, knowing that speeding on pit road will end your day. You can see Mark Cofield back in 23rd, case in point, 2 laps down after having to serve a penalty. It's such a long pit road at 55 miles an hour when you're running the rest of this race at about 190 miles an hour is what Brandon Wallace and Christopher Hodges are running right now. So they're probably going to hit pit road this time as well. And this is, there we go. There they are on pit road. This will cycle everybody through. Should give Toby Ritters the lead.
And you know, something I didn't think about, Morgan, with those green flag pit stops, some of those guys that were going a little bit slower on entry, maybe running out of fuel as they come to pit road. I mean, they were definitely stretching it all the way to the end of what we said a fuel run was. So that very well could have played into it as well. But yeah, that is going to cycle Toby Ritters to the lead once everything plays out, a result of that fuel-only pit stop. So the 88 from that massive save earlier, gonna cycle through to the lead here. I don't want to say that the comeback is complete because we've still got quite a ways to go here, but so far, a really nice recovery.
And the best part about this strategy, you got to come to pit road in about 11 laps anyway, so it's definitely far from over. Yeah, it's been a fun one. Holt with another black flag, this time I believe for maybe speeding on pit road. So day's gone from good to bad here for the 73. Should see him bring it down right there. Yes, he does. Hodges falling back a little bit. Doesn't quite cycle out where he had hoped.
And we have got quite a few cars under a blanket here. You can see Boyer, Cole, Green, Cartledge, Hodges, all in this group. Brandon Wallace here cycling out at the back of it, the last one that had hit pit road. So not really giving anything up by staying out longer there. Really nice job on and off of pit road for him. Caleb Jones heading up this group, trying to get up there to the 33 of Lewis, just a few car lengths ahead. And that is the lap car of Bridges that is also up there as well that had that damage earlier.
Yeah, and how about Toby Ritters? 3.4 seconds in front of the field. He's heading to turn one. Dustin Lewis just out the start finish line. So it's a big gap from first to second, although it is dropping fairly quickly with the draft the way that it is. But will that be the right strategy, what Toby's done here, not taking tires? And is he on the right side of the fuel number? I haven't had a chance to calculate it quite yet, but somebody, one of these groups is going to be short to the end, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be.
Yeah, and to be honest, with the fuel loads that they're running and as quick as the pit stops are happening, I've not really had an opportunity to crunch the numbers myself either here. Just looking at Ritters, he is on the 11th lap of his stint. So you figure if he comes down in about 9 laps or so, that's going to put him just outside of the window to make it on one more stop. He would definitely need a pretty massive fuel save to be able to do so, whereas that second group that pitted a little bit later, they should be good to one stop it here to the end.
Yeah, so it looks like if Ritters carries on, he should be pitting around 52. Then another 18 would put him, at 70. Yeah, he'd be 5 short, whereas everyone who hasn't hit yet, Caleb Jones, Jared Green, etc., they would be good to the end on the one stop, like you were saying there. So yeah, that is definitely not great for Ritters. What he can try and do is he can try and just continue on the way it's going, hope to catch that caution, or when everyone else pits, he pits with them, because he shouldn't go a lap down. That might be the move, and then try and make it up on raw pace throughout the run.
Yeah, he very well could pit with the rest of that group, because we've seen how it cycled out, that he ended up coming out with the lead. And if he did end up pitting a second time with that group just to take his lumps, so to speak, and get back on that same strategy, he would have the option of a really short pit stop as well, since he would have more fuel in the car. So I'm really interested to see how this works out for Ritters. The other drivers that were on that alternate strategy have run into some issues throughout the evening. So the next highest runner is actually Lewis. So I take that back. He's in 7th right now, also up there with this lead group. So a couple of different ways that this may play out here.
And this group has caught Ritters fairly quickly. The gap is now half a second. It's closing into 4 tenths. You can see Ritters on the very left side of your screen behind the ticker. You can see the 0-2 getting a push. Oh, 43 into the back of the 16, tried to give him a shove. 16 said no. But Ritters might also be saving a little bit extra here, because he is a fair bit slower. Could be the tires as well, but could be trying to make the penalty a little bit less here for staying out on this other strategy.
Yeah, he was almost a full 0.8 of a second slower a couple laps ago. He did pick the pace up just a little bit there. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He was still about 7/10 off from the now leaders. So maybe a little bit of fuel saving, maybe also just trying to get in this lead pack to draft and save a little bit of fuel that way. I mean, even with the lighter fuel load, if you try to save 5 laps, 3 laps worth, right there on that last run, probably not going to be able to do it. But if you start now, I still don't know if you'd be able to, just with as big as the track is. That's a lot of fuel to save, but if you're going to try to do it, now's the time to start.
I think with how the draft works, you can probably save at most 3/4 of a lap per run. That still is not going to put you at the 3 laps that you would require to be back. Or he's actually 5 short on this strategy, 5 or 6 short. So it's still not in the cards just to fuel save your way to the end, unless he's able to do just a masterful job, something that I just haven't been able to do myself, and really save that much fuel on a run while being competitive. He's probably got to switch the strategy, but when do you do it where it costs the least amount of time? That's really the question.
Well, here's another question for you, Morgan, and I don't know if these drivers have thought about this, but the in-sim time right now is 7:40 p.m. You can see it on the screen there. It is starting to get a little bit dark. Oh, they're wrecking.
The 43 is around off the front bumper of the O2. Oh, they're still, oh my goodness, they're charging in. Oh my goodness. Oh, just about caught Montgomery there as well. Wow. Well, that changes everything, doesn't it?
That does indeed. You could take all of that fuel strategy we were talking about, not quite throw it out the window, because they're just outside of that one-stop window right now. Take a look at this on the VSPEED instant replay. You can see Jones up there on the top and just ever so slight contact. And then you mentioned it, drivers charging in afterwards. Looks like a little bit of net code on that extra hit there, but still you could see the contact being made between the two with just the way that the cars reacted.
Right on board here with Montgomery, who just about had a pretty bad moment out of this. We'll go back and look at the incident one more time. It was a reaction to the leader is what caused it. It really was just a racing incident, unfortunately. Montgomery doing everything right, just trying to avoid it. Then the wheels start moving. It's a scary sight.
Yeah, nice job of missing that contact, though. Montgomery able to thread the needle through there. Able to avoid any additional damage.
So this is off the back bumper of the leader, Jared Green. You're going to see him go up to the top a little bit, and then that's when that accident happened. He didn't squeeze Michael Cole by any stretch, but he kind of made Michael Cole react a little bit, and that's what caused the accident. Unfortunate, not intentional by any stretch, just racing incident.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Morgan, something I was mentioning there right as that wreck started, the in-sim time right now is 7:43 p.m.
That's right.
As you can see, we've got just over 20 laps to go, but we are starting to run out of daylight here.
No lights in Michigan.
And there are no lights. Bob Pockrass confirmed there are no lights at Michigan International Speedway. Do you think we have enough time to get the rest of this race in before we just have to say, you know what, darkness has descended, we've got to call this?
I mean, theoretically, it should only take 15 minutes if we go green to get to the end of this race. We've only got 20 laps left, just over 20 laps left, at about 40 seconds a lap. I have very few doubts that time or darkness will be the deciding factor in this race.
Be interesting to see if we do end up getting a rash of cautions here, which hopefully we don't. It's been a fairly clean race overall.
You can see how dark it is by the lights on the pace car, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, that really emphasizes how dark it is starting to get out there. I've actually had this happen to me in a league race at Talladega one time, where it started getting dark like this and just barely able to finish it with a couple of green-white checkers involved. See Gino Valenti here on board with him, and it sounds like race control is actually talking a little bit right now about what to do with the darkness. So more to come on that. Hopefully they can keep it clean and green and we can get these last 20 20 couple laps in here before we fully lose light here at Michigan.
With that in mind, we're going to take a quick step aside with a Juicy Spider side by side. You're not going to miss anything. Don't go anywhere.
The victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Back here live on VSPEED. Morgan Cook, Daniel Cunningham up here in the booth. Drop us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's about to get wild here. Just over 20 laps remain from Michigan. Darkness is a factor. Can we make it to the end of this race? Will we stay green to the end? What does fuel look like? That's a concern for all these drivers. Back racing here, Gino Filanti going to lead us to green. He stayed out on this last run. He has to pit in only a couple laps.
Yeah, I think the 35 is hoping that this race gets dark in a hurry. Able to hold the lead, though, had a little bit of tire spin on that restart. Zechariah Cartledge now up to the P2 position. A lot of 3 wide, a lot of 2 wide all through the field right now. If these drivers are having a hard time seeing anything, they ain't showing it right now. They are out there giving it everything. As you can see, they're almost 4 wide for a moment. That's Brandon V's up there ripping the top, trying to gain some ground. Zechariah Cartledge up front. He is now to the lead of this race.
And we talked earlier about how he's having not a great day, needing to recover from it. Lead laps, that is always going to be a great remedy for a bad day. We got the 33s up in the fence. Dustin Lewis with a moment. He'll lose a lot of ground, no damage, just momentum lost. For that drivers, we have 21 remaining drivers bobbing and weaving further back, side by side for the lead.
Still side by side up here for the lead. Gotta wonder, is anybody saving a little bit of fuel? Is anybody thinking we're gonna get the rest of it in? It's just outside of that fuel window. I know you had mentioned that you could probably only save about 3/4 of a lap or so over the duration of the run, but a lot of different things at play here.
4
and also,
wide.
will we even get the full way? As you said, at 4 wide through 1 and 2, did not think they were going to make
Contact, they're
that
all
work.
wrecking. Oh,
and
man.
they did make it work.
Yeah, they're all around. Brandon V's got the worst of it. I think that car actually isn't all that bad for damage. A little bit of damage there, but let's go back. We saw it from across the racetrack. Let's have a look at it from behind the cars.
And we saw that 4 wide there. It just gets really tight off the exit of 2. A little bit of contact there up on the top side. I thought they had made their way through it, but then just a little bit of door banging between those 3 up on the top there. And just, I mean, that's just running out of real estate.
Absolutely. Moyer gave a lot of room to the 43 and didn't realize that there were 2 to the outside there. And, of course, a little contact with the 9 and with the 56. 65. Not what any of those drivers wanted. Meatball flag goes to Michael Cole. He pounded the inside wall. Everyone else got through it clean.
Yeah, Cole definitely got the worst of that. And, you know, we were just talking about what happens if we start getting some cautions here. Do we have enough time to get the rest of this race in? And, yeah, I think it's going to be close. This would definitely put everybody in their fuel window, though, to make it to the end, right on that 18 laps to go here. But, Yeah, you can see, you mentioned it on the last caution, the lights on the pace car really showing just how much daylight we are running out of here. And it seems like we're running out of it in a hurry here.
I would, yeah, like I said, I would expect every single driver to hit the pit lane this time around. Looks like they all will, at least for your top 5. Cofield's going to stay out. So is the 07, Schaub. Satori,
Like one more
and
couple
Moyer.
drivers in the back also staying out. And hey, I like it. If you're close enough, we've seen how important track position is here. Even if we do go the full distance, this caution may be enough to allow those that stay out to be able to make it. Now, if there was a green-white checker, probably not going to be able to make it through that. But I like it. It's a roll of the dice that I like.
Definitely is a roll of the dice. And for getting that first pit stall, Christopher Hodges just won the race off pit road. Everyone who pit, he was the fastest one off of the pit lane. He's now going to restart up in the 3rd spot. Schaub and Satori in front of him. Could that be the move that catapults Christopher Hodges to his 2nd win of the year? Of course, the winner earlier this season at Watkins Glen. Lots still to show here with just over 15 laps remaining for Narrows Hills in Michigan. That's still 30 miles, though, Daniel. That's a long ways here. A lot of racing still left to be done, including racing the darkness, something that we don't see often here on VSPEED. It's happened a time or two, but haven't had a race like this in a couple years, at least, on the service.
Yeah, definitely a different wrinkle here. And also just a quick piece of housekeeping. The 97 of Mark Cofield we saw stayed out there. He was actually a lap down because of that earlier penalty that he had coming down pit road the 2nd time by with the lap cars when they can pit. So
got the lap back.
Yeah, though. I thought maybe he would be, actually I believe he might have been the free pass in that situation. So back on the lead lap, able to try to make a recovery here from that earlier speeding penalty. Lights are off on the pace car, though. We've got the 1 to green. Going to be going back green here with 15 to go.
It's been a wild race at this point. Lots of 2, 3, sometimes even 4 wide. These cars, a lot of drag in them, a lot of draft available. Who's it going to be? Could be anyone in this lead pack that finds the speed to be able to get up to the front. 7 laps on this fuel run for Justin Schaub. 4 laps on this run for Kevin Satori. Everyone else pit 1 lap ago. Who's it going to be, Daniel? What do you expect for the final laps?
I expect that I don't know what lap our final lap will be. I'll just leave it at that.
Sure.
Just leave it at that. It is getting dark in a hurry out there. See Brandon Wallace, a new player, up there in the top 5. Maybe he could get up there and steal one this evening. Also, I'm looking at that 3rd row right now between Montgomery and Wallace. I think those guys are going to have something to say in this before this race is over.
Definitely possible. First driver on new tires, Jared Green, back in 12th position. We're going to turn him loose. Field in the hands of Justin Schaub and Kevin Satori. Slow roll into the restart zone. And we're green again here in Michigan. I'll wait until the very end. We got drivers really out of shape in the back. Brandon V's got the worst out of that one.
Yeah, big checkup, big accordion there on that start.
Hancock and V's both with black flags.
Yeah, it both looks like they are incident point penalty black flags here.
And Hodges to the lead.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Christopher Hodges, and there's Matthew Montgomery. He is now up into that number 2 position. Schaub and Palmer doing a nice job of hanging on behind that battle. Got Jared Green up there trying to work his way to the front along with Zechariah Cartledge, and they're also 3 wide for position behind them.
Yeah, drivers putting it all out on the line right now, knowing there might not be another caution. That next flag could end the race for darkness. Look at the gaggle. A lot of drivers did not get any favors done on that restart. Really trying to fight for everything they can do right now.
Yeah, 3 wide is challenging enough as you see a big move there out of the 61. Think he might have got just a little bit of contact, able to hang on to it though. 3 wide is challenging enough when you can actually see what's going on around you. gotta wonder how these drivers are managing that as we run out of daylight here, just under 8 p.m. in the sim. You know, I've never been to Michigan. I'm not familiar with what time the sun goes down there, but I think we're getting close.
Thank goodness we're in a summer race, not in a winter race. It'd already be dark up here in the north of the United States. My goodness. Let's have a look at somebody's on board here. This is Brandon Wallace. Yeah, it's hard to differentiate the dash from the racetrack. That's not a good sign usually.
No, that is definitely less than ideal. You see Brandon Wallace has him 3 wide there.
Oh, he's going to get spun.
Oh, and he's around.
Into the grass.
Brandon Wallace through the grass, but I thought he was going to be able to keep it off the wall. Backs it into the wall. No caution right now, though.
Still no caution.
Yeah, it looks like since he spun off of the track, they are going to let him race. Going to keep it green for now.
I want to make note. How about MJ Palmer in the 2? That car was destroyed on one of our first cautions of the day, up here in the top 5. What a great rebound for the 2.
Yeah, really nice job for him up there in the top 5. You said it best. That car was absolutely totaled earlier, able to rebound. Also see Mark Cofield up there in the top 10 as well. I'm almost afraid to start mentioning drivers by name. It seems like every time I do, you know, you know what, it's just easier if I don't even say it at this point. But yeah, I'm almost afraid to just put the curse on anybody else at this point. But back up at the front, Matthew Montgomery still trying to chase down Christopher Hodges in that 81 car. Starting to put a little bit of pressure, just hanging just about 2 car lengths back at this point.
And he's about to get a lot of help here. Schaub has caught up to them. He's going to go to the bottom here. Montgomery with momentum on the top side. That's going to choke him up a little bit. But here comes the 0-2, going to get around the top side.
Yeah, Caleb Jones carrying a lot of momentum there, able to get that run through 1 and 2. See if he is able to do anything with it, but up at the front, Matthew Montgomery in that 9 car. He's to the inside of Hodges. Hodges with the momentum back. He's going to be able to keep that position for now. He's also going to have the draft help down the straightaway, and they are going to freight train the 9 of Montgomery. Put Caleb Jones up to 2nd. He's going to try for the lead.
Oh, big wreck. Big wreck. Mark Cofield's in it. Satori as well. They stay green. Still green.
Yeah, no caution on the track. Mark Cofield missing the entire front clip of his vehicle after that. But as you said, we are still green. Looks like Race Control trying to let them race this out to get to the end under green as they are door banging off of 4, making contact for the lead. Jones and Hodges with green close behind. Again, gonna get that freight train rolling up top. Put Jones back to the lead.
Really high line here for the 9. Can he get to the quarter panel of the 16? Is there 3 wide behind him? Doesn't look like it. No, he chooses against. He's going to go down to the bottom now. As the big loser out of that exchange was the 81. Wow, we are really going at it here. Under 10 to go to the end of Michigan.
And Matthew Montgomery tried to make that bottom lane work. We saw that failed pass for the lead earlier. Wasn't able to complete it. Ended up losing a bunch of spots out of that. He is able to complete the pass for 2nd this time. Stays up on the high lane. Caleb Jones trying to just break that draft, just control both of the lanes. Green now down to the bottom. He's trying to make it work. It just seems like you can't quite carry the momentum that you need, but he throws the slider. And he's going to be able to get in front of Montgomery for 2nd. They're door banging down the back straightaway.
And Montgomery did not love that move. Threw a little bit of a slide up the racetrack. Got into the door a little bit. They both stay green. Palmer and Lewis are leaning on each other. 4 cars back, side by side for the 5th position. The top 4 single file out. My goodness, this is going to be a finish for the 8 as the grandstands have more light than the racetrack does right now.
And in defense of Green there, sliding up in front of Montgomery. His car's starting to blend in a little bit here
It
in
is.
that black number 9 machine. He's up on the high side, though. He's trying to take that number 2 position back. He's going to be able to carry that momentum, but Green's still fighting down on the bottom.
We've seen the 16 be able to roll the bottom better than anyone else all day. Can he do it a couple more times and get up beside the 0-2? Now they're going to be 3 wide, not what the 16 needs. Here comes Lewis up the middle with help from MJ Palmer.
And Montgomery making that top lane work. It looked like Caleb Jones shot to the bottom there off of turn 4. Don't know if he got a little loose or got a little help or what it was.
There goes Montgomery.
He tried to pull the slider, not able to make it work. Put the 9 to the lead. Matthew Montgomery rather to P1. Caleb Jones to second, battling with Hodges for that position.
How about Hodges past 4 cars on the backstretch? He's going to be battling for second off of turn 4. Jeremiah Holt, we haven't talked with him a lot today. He's up here in second as well. What a great run for a few drivers making their way up to the front, but it's not over yet. 5 to go into turn number 1.
Yeah, Caleb Jones down there on the bottom. He has got the position. He's going to slide up in front of Montgomery. Montgomery going to try to cross him back over down the back straightaway. Not quite able to make it work. They're still making contact. I don't think Montgomery was a big fan of that slider that was thrown right there. He is going to try to take it back, but does he have the momentum? They're side by side off of 4.
It's going to be even off the corner. 3 wide again. Goes the 16 to the bottom. That's going to kill Montgomery's run. And there goes Holt around the outside. Oh, man, this is unbelievable. At the end of this one, 4 laps to go.
And Jeremiah Holt actually a lap down right now, trying to get a lap back the old-fashioned way in case we do end up having a caution, that he could get up there and race for position.
Look at the 81.
But as it stands, there goes Hodges. He's looking to the inside, trying to get around Holt to get up on the back bumper of our leader.
Can Hodges finish where he started up in the first position? Or will 10th place starter Caleb Jones be able to hang on to what has been a great race for him up at the front a lot of this day? Only time will tell. 3 laps remain here in Michigan, and it is getting very difficult to see what's going on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I like the decision by race control here to try to keep this green so we can get the full scheduled distance in. Caleb Jones out in front right now, trying to control both of those lanes. Try to do maybe just a little bit of mirror driving, keep some dirty air on the nose of Hodges. Hodges, though, carries a little bit of momentum off of turn 4, trying to build that run down the front straightaway. 2 laps to go. We'll see if he can do anything with it.
4 more sets of corners to decide who is going to win here in Michigan, who's going to strengthen their chances at winning a championship, who's going to maybe get their first win of the season. Will there be a repeat winner? All yet to be determined. As your top 2 have separated themselves, Montgomery back to 3rd. Of course, the 73 being a lap down, throwing a bit of a wrinkle into it for the 9, but off of turn number 4. For the second to last time today, we're going to stay green to the white flag. Next flag will end the race. Caleb Jones has the lead.
And Matthew Montgomery has worked his way back up into contention for this win. See some contact there behind him. Jared Green now also up in this battle. The leaders nose to tail directly in front of the 9 car. Matthew Montgomery looking to the inside.
He got turned.
Contact on the back straightaway. Montgomery cleared to the lead. Can he hold it through 3 and 4?
Jared Green's going to be the last driver who has a chance at getting around Matthew Montgomery, and off of turn number 4, momentum in the hands of the 9. Matthew Montgomery is going to go for his 3rd win of the year, and he's going to win in Michigan.
Well, really nice drive there at the end from Montgomery. Put himself in position to capitalize on the last lap carnage, the last lap drama between our 2 leaders there. Just did what he needed to do. And as you said, 3rd win of the year for Matthew Montgomery.
Let's go back and see what happened to this mangled 0-2. So he's in front of Hodges, off the corner, trying to get a push. from Hodges and just got ever so slightly out of line. And across the front bumper, got turned into the fence, and that's all it took.
Yeah, just ever so slight contact. These cars do not take pushes very well outside of the super speedway races. And I can't fault either driver there. It's the last lap. You got to try to keep that position, giving it everything you can for the win. Just definitely a heartbreaker there for the 0-2 of Caleb Jones. And Matthew Montgomery, though, he's excited. He's celebrating. I don't know if the fans can see it or not, but he's going to burn it down on the front straightaway in celebration of his win here this evening.
Absolutely great drive for the 9. Seen it a number of times this year. One more time here at Michigan. Congratulations to Matthew Montgomery. Well, Daniel, let's get to the results of this race. Here at Michigan, here's how it went down. First, a recap. 4 cautions, 27 lead changes. Incredible race here. This evening, Matthew Montgomery comes home as the winner after starting in 8th. Jared Green, how about 21 positions gained, finishes in 2nd. Hodges almost had a shot at winning that race, not quite enough. He will finish in the 3rd position. Jordan Bridges comes home in 4th after a great recovery. MJ Palmer, same story. He's going to finish in the 5th spot. Toby Ritters up to 6th. Zechariah Cartledge rebounds to 7th. Gino Volanti, the strategy call worked out. He finishes in 8th. Dustin Lewis in the 9th position. Sam Bridges, great run in the 10th spot.
Finishing just outside of the top 10. It's going to be Brandon Wallace coming home in 11th. Enoch Hancock finishing in the 12th position here today. Stephen Gill comes home in 13th. Sean Warab in 14th. Number 15th place finisher is going to be Justin Schaub. Kevin Satori coming home in 16th. Caleb Jones 17th. Jeremiah Holt in 18th. David Boyer in 19th, and Mark Cofield rounding out your top 20.
21st tonight will be Jamil Gills in the number 6. Christian Keegan to finish 22nd. Brandon V's 23rd after getting DQ'd with 11 laps remaining. Michael Cole got a massive contact earlier. He finishes 24th. Aaron Espy did not take the grid here this evening. He will finish in 25th, the last driver on the grid here. And that's a look at how it went here from Michigan. What a fun one we had tonight.
Yeah, we had a little bit of everything here this evening. We started off with some thick fog in practice, led into we're racing the darkness. Then it led into the different fuel strategies, the different tire strategies. And as you said in your recap there, 27 lead changes tonight. Just really amazing racing from this field.
Absolutely. Just really phenomenal drive from a lot of these guys tonight, and just really a lot of fun to watch. 3, 4, I think we touched 5 wide at one point in time in this race. I mean, you can't ask for much more when ARCA cars go to Michigan. But for everyone at the National Sim Racing League Association, Aaron Espy, Jacob Cochran, Matthew Montgomery, John Warrope, Stephen Gill, Andy Barry, Brett Rinn, all the other admins that make this thing possible. Appreciate the opportunity to bring this event to the people of VSPEED here on YouTube. It was a fun one all the way throughout. Also got to give a big thank you to Diesel Laptops for sponsoring most of the races this year. We'll have a different sponsor on board for next week. Diesel Laptops will be back for the finale in Las Vegas. Let's have a quick look at the schedule. Of course, next week will be Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, and then we're going to go to Las Vegas to determine who will win that championship. New points will be updated for next week, so we'll see if Zechariah Cartledge is able to hang on to the points lead, or if another driver is going to get close and potentially take that one away. But for everyone here at VSPEED, the other owners, Bradley, Eddie, Adam, other commentators and producers, Logan and Lucas, and everyone else who makes this thing possible. Of course, Daniel Cunningham for being with me so far this season. Check us out at vspeedsim.com. for all you need to know about VSPEED from that perspective at VSPEED Sim on X as well. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action. Tons of VSPEED content coming up over the winter months. Don't go anywhere. And of course, cameras submitted by Dougie Beard here this evening. See you next time here on VSPEED. Thanks, everyone.